Why people suddenly start hating you, the silent war you never see coming. Have you ever suddenly noticed that someone who once liked, admired, or even tolerated you now seems to resent you out of nowhere? One day, everything feels normal, and the next, you're hit with cold shoulders, subtle digs, or outright hostility. What if I told you that this sudden hatred isn't about you? It's about them. Behind every unexpected wave of dislike lies a silent war you never see coming. Insecurities exposed, power dynamics shifted, jealousy awakened, and boundaries finally respected. In this video, we'll uncover the hidden reasons people suddenly start hating you, reveal the psychology behind their resentment, and teach you how to protect your energy without losing your peace. By the end, you'll understand that their hate is a reflection of their inner struggles, not a reflection of your worth, and you'll learn to rise above it with clarity, confidence, and calm. Why people suddenly start hating you, the silent war you never see coming. It's a painful and confusing experience. One day, you're living your life, moving forward, and the next you feel the cold sting of resentment, subtle jabs, or even outright hostility from people who once supported you. The shift seems sudden, almost inexplicable, leaving you questioning what you did wrong, or why you're suddenly the target of negativity. The truth is, more often than not, this sudden hatred has very little to do with you personally. Instead, it's a silent war that starts in the minds of others, triggered by their insecurities, jealousy, and fear of losing control over their environment or over you. Understanding this dynamic is the first step in protecting your peace and rising above the noise. One of the most common reasons people suddenly start hating you is that your growth threatens their stagnation. People are often comfortable with the version of you that fits within their expectations, routines, and perceptions. When you evolve, whether it's through career success, personal growth, confidence, or emotional maturity, it inadvertently exposes the areas in their own lives where they have remained stagnant. Your progress becomes a mirror reflecting their insecurities, and instead of using this reflection as motivation, many choose resentment. They may even unconsciously undermine you or spread negativity because it is easier to project hate than to confront their own fears of inadequacy. Your rise shines a light on their stagnation, and hatred becomes a misguided shield to protect themselves from feeling inferior. Another key reason is when you stop tolerating behaviors that once went unchecked. Boundaries are powerful, and setting them can feel threatening to those used to taking advantage of your patience, kindness, or loyalty. When you start saying no, prioritizing your own well-being, or refusing to engage in drama, people who thrived on your availability or acquiescence suddenly feel deprived. This deprivation is often interpreted as rejection, and instead of introspection, they direct their frustration toward you. Hate in these situations is not about you changing, it's about them losing access to the version of you that once accommodated their needs, even at your expense. It's a harsh reminder that self-respect and personal boundaries, while necessary, can provoke resentment in those who are selfish or entitled. Sometimes, hatred is instigated and amplified by external influences. People don't always hate you for themselves, they may hate you because someone else has convinced them to. Gossip, jealousy, and manipulation are powerful tools in creating invisible battles. Someone might twist your words, exaggerate your actions, or fabricate a narrative that portrays you negatively. Before you know it, others around you start believing in this false image. This is often a silent war fought in whispers, in backhanded comments, and in the subtle turning of friends, colleagues, or family members against you. What makes this type of hatred particularly painful is that it is largely invisible. You may never see it coming, and when it surfaces, it can feel like the ground has shifted beneath your feet. Recognizing the role of external influence allows you to respond with discernment, instead of getting entangled in battles that aren't truly yours. A fourth factor is the reaction to your absence or independence. When you begin to prioritize yourself, your goals, or your mental and emotional health, some people react with hostility simply because they feel abandoned or exposed. Your presence may have been a crutch for them, a source of validation, support, or energy. Once you remove that crutch, their discomfort can quickly turn into resentment. People who are overly dependent or controlling may find it difficult to accept that you are no longer available on their terms. The hatred that arises from this situation is less about you and more about their inability to adapt to your growth and independence. Understanding this allows you to respond not with guilt or defensiveness, but with calm detachment, knowing that their feelings are a reflection of their own struggles. Lastly, many people start hating you because they can no longer control you. Control is often the unspoken currency in relationships, and when someone realizes they've lost influence over you, fear and resentment can turn into hatred. This is particularly evident when your responses, decisions, or emotions no longer follow their expectations. People who feel powerless tend to react with hostility, sometimes in subtle, manipulative ways, and other times openly. Their hatred is essentially an admission you have reclaimed your power, and that scares them. The more confident and self-assured you become, the more this dynamic may surface, but it is also a sign that you are on the right path. True growth and independence often provoke discomfort in others, because it challenges their perception of control. The key to navigating this silent war is understanding that hatred is rarely about you. It is a mirror reflecting insecurities, jealousy, dependence, and fear in others. The moment you internalize this, you gain clarity and perspective, allowing you to protect your energy and maintain emotional balance. Setting boundaries, limiting exposure to toxic individuals, and surrounding yourself with supportive, like-minded people are crucial strategies. Responding with calm, rather than defensiveness or retaliation, neutralizes much of the negativity while preserving your dignity. Your focus should remain on your growth, not on explaining yourself or proving your worth to those who cannot see it. In conclusion, people suddenly start hating you for reasons rooted in their own limitations, fears, and envy. It may be triggered by your personal growth, your assertiveness, their reliance on you, external manipulations, or the loss of control over you. Recognizing these dynamics allows you to rise above the silent war and focus on what truly matters: your peace, your self-worth, and your ongoing evolution. Hatred directed at you is not a measure of your flaws, but a reflection of their inner struggles. When you understand this, you reclaim power, maintain your emotional sovereignty, and continue to flourish, unaffected by the unseen battles others wage in silence. How to protect yourself. When people start hating you, shielding your energy in the silent war, the moment you realize someone has begun to resent you can be disorienting. You may feel betrayed, confused, or even doubting yourself, wondering what you could have done differently. But the reality is that people's sudden dislike is often a reflection of their own insecurities, jealousy, and fear, not a reflection of your character or worth. Once you recognize this, the next critical step is learning how to protect yourself, emotionally, mentally, and even physically, so their negativity doesn't impact your peace or your path. This silent war can be exhausting, but understanding it and establishing protective strategies allows you to remain calm, composed, and empowered. First and foremost, protecting yourself begins with emotional detachment. When someone begins projecting hate, anger, or passive-aggressive behavior toward you, the natural human instinct is to react, to defend yourself, argue, or justify your actions. However, responding emotionally often feeds the fire, giving them control over your energy. Detachment doesn't mean being cold or indifferent, it means recognizing that their feelings and reactions are not about you. When you emotionally step back, you create a buffer that allows you to respond with clarity rather than impulsive reactions. You preserve your mental space, and you make it clear that their negativity cannot dictate your emotional state. Another essential strategy is setting clear and firm boundaries. People who develop resentment often test limits, intentionally or not, to provoke reactions or maintain control. By defining what you will and will not tolerate, you signal that your energy and well-being are not negotiable. Boundaries may be as simple as limiting interactions, refusing to engage in gossip, or disengaging from emotionally draining conversations. They can also include removing yourself from environments or relationships that consistently bring negativity. Clear boundaries not only protect you from harm, but also communicate that you value yourself enough to maintain your peace, regardless of how others feel about it. Understanding the power of observation and discernment is also vital. When someone hates you, it's important to analyze the situation carefully. Is the negativity targeted at you specifically, or is it part of their larger pattern of envy and dissatisfaction? Often, people project their unhappiness or inadequacy onto others. Recognizing this allows you to separate the personal from the projected, reducing the emotional weight of their actions. Discernment also helps you decide where to invest your energy. Some conflicts are worth addressing, but most are not. Protecting yourself means conserving your energy for growth and meaningful interactions, rather than wasting it on battles that are neither fair nor productive. In addition, surrounding yourself with a supportive and understanding network is a key defense mechanism. Hate, especially when it seems sudden or unjustified, can feel isolating. Having friends, mentors, or colleagues who understand your journey, validate your experiences, and offer perspective is crucial. These relationships act as a buffer, reminding you that not everyone is against you, and that the negative reactions of a few do not define your life. Moreover, supportive people can provide constructive feedback, helping you see whether any of the criticisms have merit or are entirely baseless, allowing you to respond appropriately without internalizing hate. Developing inner resilience is another critical pillar of protection. This involves strengthening your self-awareness, confidence, and sense of self-worth so that external negativity does not destabilize you. Practices such as journaling, meditation, reflection, or even affirmations can fortify your mental and emotional armor. When you are resilient, hate directed at you is less likely to cause anxiety, self-doubt, or fear. Instead, it becomes a passing storm, something you observe without letting it alter your trajectory. Resilience also allows you to maintain a calm and composed exterior, which can disarm those who attempt to provoke you or gain power through conflict. It's equally important to respond strategically rather than impulsively. When faced with hate, silence can often be more powerful than confrontation. Choosing when and how to respond, or choosing not to respond at all, allows you to retain control over the situation. Impulsive reactions can escalate conflict, give credibility to false narratives, or create a cycle of retaliation. Strategic responses, on the other hand, may involve calmly addressing misunderstandings, documenting interactions in professional settings, or simply walking away from toxicity. Your goal is not to win a battle of words, but to maintain your dignity and emotional integrity. Another layer of protection is mindful energy management. The people who suddenly hate you can consume enormous mental bandwidth if you allow it. Limiting your exposure to toxic interactions, avoiding unnecessary arguments, and disengaging from gossip or drama ensures that your energy is spent on your growth, goals, and happiness rather than wasted on negativity. This conscious redirection of energy not only preserves your peace but reinforces your independence and self-reliance. People may continue to hate you, but their opinions will hold less power over your life. Finally, protecting yourself involves understanding the lessons within conflict. While sudden hatred is painful, it can be revealing. It teaches you about your boundaries, who truly supports you, and where toxic energy may be hiding in your life. Viewing it through this lens transforms the experience from an attack into an opportunity for self-growth and empowerment. Every challenge, every silent war waged against you, is a chance to refine your emotional intelligence, strengthen your resilience, and clarify your priorities. The more you understand this, the less threatening sudden hate becomes. In conclusion, protecting yourself when people suddenly start hating you is about cultivating emotional detachment, setting firm boundaries, observing and discerning motives, building a supportive network, developing inner resilience, responding strategically, managing your energy, and learning from conflict. These strategies create a shield around your mental and emotional well-being, ensuring that negativity from others cannot derail your progress or peace. Remember, their hate is never truly about you. It is a reflection of their struggles, insecurities, and fear. By protecting yourself, you reclaim your power, maintain your dignity, and continue to thrive, unaffected by the silent wars others wage in shadows. The hidden sign someone is secretly resenting you. Spot the silent war early. Hatred and resentment don't always announce themselves loudly. Often, they grow quietly, hidden behind smiles, small talk, and seemingly harmless interactions. The danger of this silent war is that it catches you off guard. One moment, everything feels normal, and the next, subtle jabs, cold stares, or passive-aggressive comments signal a shift in someone's attitude toward you. Understanding the hidden signs of resentment is crucial, not just to protect your peace, but also to navigate relationships with clarity and confidence. When you can spot early warning signs, you can respond strategically before negativity escalates into open conflict or emotional exhaustion. One of the most common indicators that someone is harboring secret resentment is a sudden change in behavior. People who were once warm, supportive, or friendly may become distant, short with you, or even oddly competitive. Small gestures, such as avoiding eye contact, dismissing your achievements, or subtle sarcasm, may seem insignificant at first, but over time, they reveal a growing undercurrent of hostility. These behavioral changes are often triggered by envy, insecurity, or a perceived loss of control. Recognizing this early allows you to adjust your approach without internalizing the negativity or letting it disrupt your life. Another sign is frequent undermining or backhanded compliments. People who resent you rarely express hatred openly. Instead, they mask it with subtle digs disguised as praise or constructive criticism. Comments like, "Wow, I didn't expect you to do that," or "Good for you, I guess," may appear harmless but carry an undertone of judgment or disdain. This is their way of asserting superiority or masking their own insecurities while testing your reaction. Spotting these microaggressions requires careful attention to tone, context, and frequency. Once recognized, you can respond calmly, assert your boundaries, or disengage without giving their negativity power over you. A third sign is exclusion and social manipulation. Resentment often manifests in ways that affect your social standing, whether at work, in friend groups, or within family dynamics. Individuals may subtly exclude you from gatherings, conversations, or decision-making opportunities. They may also spread rumors or manipulate others' perceptions to isolate you. This silent war is designed to destabilize you and make you question your worth or role. By observing patterns of exclusion or manipulative behavior, you can safeguard your relationships, cultivate trust with supportive individuals, and prevent toxic influence from taking root in your life. Passive-aggressive communication is another hallmark of hidden resentment. People harboring silent animosity rarely confront issues directly. Instead, they express displeasure through indirect means: delayed responses, avoidance, vague criticism, or doing the bare minimum. They may agree outwardly while subtly sabotaging efforts behind the scenes. Recognizing passive-aggressive patterns allows you to remain vigilant without overreacting. It also gives you the opportunity to protect your energy, limit exposure, and address conflicts strategically if and when it becomes necessary. The key is not to internalize these behaviors as personal attacks, but to understand them as reflections of the other person's unresolved issues. Jealousy and comparison are also telling signs that resentment is brewing. When someone consistently measures themselves against your achievements, downplays your successes, or seems irritated by your progress, it's a red flag. Jealousy often masquerades as advice, concern, or casual commentary, but the underlying message is clear. Your growth threatens their comfort or sense of superiority. Awareness of these signs helps you navigate these relationships with tact, keeping interactions professional or minimal while focusing on your own path. Recognizing jealousy as a source of silent war allows you to respond with compassion rather than defensiveness, maintaining your peace. A subtle but powerful indicator is emotional withdrawal or lack of support. People who once celebrated your wins or offered encouragement may suddenly become indifferent. They may stop checking in, offering help, or acknowledging your milestones. Emotional withdrawal is often a conscious or subconscious tactic to signal disapproval, express envy, or attempt to control your emotional state. Observing this behavior early helps you recalibrate expectations, protect your vulnerability, and redirect emotional energy toward supportive relationships. The absence of negativity doesn't always mean positivity. Sometimes it signals quiet resentment waiting for an opportunity to surface. Another hidden sign is frequent criticism of your choices or lifestyle. Resentful individuals may constantly question your decisions, suggest that your actions are wrong, or highlight flaws in your approach. This criticism is rarely constructive. Its goal is to create doubt, instigate defensiveness, or assert control. By distinguishing between constructive feedback and criticism rooted in resentment, You can avoid internalizing negativity and continue pursuing your goals confidently. Developing a strong sense of self-awareness and discernment is essential in recognizing these silent attacks without letting them derail your self-esteem or progress. Finally, a pattern of projection is a common sign that someone is secretly resenting you. Projection occurs when someone attributes their own negative feelings, fears, or insecurities onto you. For example, if someone feels competitive or jealous, they may accuse you of being arrogant, selfish, or manipulative, even when these traits don't describe you. Understanding projection helps you detach emotionally, respond with clarity, and avoid taking personal responsibility for issues that belong entirely to someone else. Recognizing projection as a tool of silent warfare equips you to maintain calm, confidence, and perspective. In conclusion, the silent war of resentment is subtle, often invisible, but its effects can be damaging if ignored. Hidden signs such as sudden behavioral changes, backhanded compliments, social exclusion, passive-aggressive communication, jealousy, emotional withdrawal, constant criticism, and projection all reveal the early stages of quiet hostility. Recognizing these patterns is not about fostering paranoia, it's about safeguarding your peace, setting boundaries, and responding with strategy and calm. The sooner you spot these signs, the faster you can protect your energy, strengthen supportive relationships, and maintain your confidence. Understanding the silent war allows you to rise above negativity, keeping your growth, self-respect, and emotional well-being intact. Why some people target you without warning. Understanding the invisible battle. Sometimes the most confusing and painful experiences come from people who suddenly turn against you, seemingly without reason. One day, everything is fine. The next, subtle hostility, coldness, or outright attacks emerge. This sudden shift can feel bewildering, leaving you questioning yourself and your worth. The truth is that these invisible battles rarely start with you personally. They originate from internal struggles within the other person. Understanding why people target you without warning is essential to protect your energy, maintain your confidence, and navigate these situations strategically. One major reason people target others suddenly is their own insecurity and fear of being outshone. When someone perceives you as more successful, confident, or capable, it can trigger deep-seated feelings of inadequacy. Instead of working on themselves, they project their discomfort outward, sometimes even attempting to sabotage or belittle you. Their behavior is less about you and more about their own fear of exposure. Recognizing this allows you to understand that their hostility is a reflection of their struggle, not a judgment of your worth. Awareness of this dynamic is the first step in neutralizing its impact on your peace. Another reason is resentment from unmet expectations or envy. People may feel entitled to certain behaviors, attention, or support from you. When you set boundaries, pursue your goals, or act independently, it can shatter their sense of entitlement. This often triggers a reaction of resentment, which can appear suddenly and intensely. They may criticize you, gossip about you, or attempt subtle manipulations to regain a sense of control. Understanding that their actions are motivated by envy helps you detach emotionally and protect your mental and emotional space, rather than internalizing blame or questioning your actions unnecessarily. Control is a powerful motivator in human behavior, and many individuals target others as a way to assert dominance or influence. When someone perceives they are losing control over a situation or over you personally, they may resort to covert tactics, spreading rumors, passive-aggressive behavior, or subtle intimidation to reassert their perceived authority. These actions often occur behind the scenes, making the attack difficult to anticipate. Recognizing patterns of control-oriented behavior helps you navigate interactions with calm awareness and allows you to establish boundaries that maintain your autonomy while minimizing conflict. The timing of these attacks is often strategic. People who suddenly target others may do so when they sense vulnerability, distraction, or a shift in power dynamics. They exploit moments when you may be focused elsewhere, emotionally drained, or unaware of their intentions. This is why silent wars often catch people off guard. They are calculated, subtle, and designed to destabilize. Awareness and vigilance, rather than paranoia, allow you to anticipate potential manipulation and respond with measured action instead of emotional reaction. Another key factor is projection of their unresolved issues. People often accuse, criticize, or target others for traits they themselves struggle with internally. For example, someone who feels jealous may call you arrogant or selfish. Someone struggling with dishonesty may label you untrustworthy. Understanding projection is essential because it allows you to detach from their accusations, recognize that the conflict stems from their internal battles, and maintain your composure. Projection is a hallmark of silent war, where the enemy is less the person in front of you and more the unresolved turmoil inside them. Social influence and group dynamics also play a role. Individuals may target you to align with others' opinions, gain approval, or protect their social standing. Gossip, rumors, or exclusion often follow this pattern, where the attacker seeks validation from peers or authority figures. The danger of this dynamic lies in its subtlety. It can erode your reputation or peace without obvious confrontation. Recognizing social influence as a motive helps you respond strategically, focusing on relationships that are genuine and minimizing exposure to toxicity. Not every reaction is personal. Many are driven by the need to fit in or appear powerful in the eyes of others. Emotional manipulation is another reason people may target you. Some individuals attempt to provoke guilt, shame, or self-doubt to gain leverage. They may use mixed signals, feigned innocence, or selective sharing of information to destabilize your confidence. The silent war thrives on subtlety. If you react strongly, they achieve their goal. Developing emotional intelligence and self-awareness allows you to navigate these tactics without losing your sense of self. By staying grounded and responding with clarity, you take away their power to manipulate your emotions. Finally, sudden targeting often stems from a fear of accountability or exposure. People who engage in unethical, manipulative, or dishonest behavior may attack those who expose truth, reveal competence, or refuse to comply with their agendas. Hatred emerges as a defensive mechanism. They cannot admit fault, so they shift blame and target the person they perceive as a threat. Understanding this helps you see hostility as a reflection of their defensive strategies, rather than evidence of your inadequacy. Maintaining confidence and integrity becomes your shield in these encounters. In conclusion, people who suddenly target you do so for reasons rooted in insecurity. Envy, fear of losing control, projection, social influence, emotional manipulation, and avoidance of accountability. Recognizing these patterns allows you to see the silent war before it escalates, protect your energy, and maintain emotional and mental clarity. Their attacks are rarely about you personally. They are reflections of their internal struggles and limitations. By understanding the motives behind these behaviors, you gain the power to rise above negativity, maintain your focus, and continue your journey without being derailed by the invisible battles others wage in silence. Rising above the hate. How to stay strong when people suddenly turn against you. Experiencing sudden hatred or resentment from others can feel like an unexpected storm. It shakes your confidence, leaves you questioning your worth, and challenges your sense of safety in relationships. But the truth is that when people turn against you, it is rarely about you personally. Their negativity often stems from insecurity, jealousy, fear, or a desire for control. Understanding this is the first step in rising above the hate. The next step is learning how to stay strong, protect your energy, and continue growing even in the face of silent battles waged around you. One of the most powerful ways to stay strong is to embrace emotional detachment. When someone directs negativity toward you, your natural instinct may be to respond emotionally, defend yourself, or justify your actions. While human, this reaction often fuels the conflict, giving them control over your energy. Detachment does not mean coldness or apathy. It means recognizing that their resentment is a reflection of their internal struggles, not a judgment of your worth. By observing without absorbing, you maintain peace and prevent unnecessary stress from affecting your life and decisions. Another key strategy is setting firm and healthy boundaries. People who harbor resentment or hate often test limits, consciously or unconsciously. They may push for access to your time, attention, or emotional energy in ways that feel draining. By defining what you will and will not tolerate, you establish a safe perimeter around your life. Boundaries can include limiting interactions, disengaging from toxic conversations, or walking away from relationships that consistently harm your peace. Clear boundaries communicate self-respect, protect your energy, and prevent the silent war from affecting your mental and emotional stability. Focusing on your growth and personal development is also crucial. Hatred often arises when others feel threatened by your progress, confidence, or independence. The more you prioritize your growth, whether in career, relationships, or personal mastery, the less influence their negativity will have over your life. Channel your energy into your goals, passions, and self-improvement. The best way to respond to resentment is not through confrontation, but through consistent action and success. By excelling quietly, you maintain dignity and confidence, while demonstrating that their opinion does not define you. Building a support network of genuine relationships is another essential tool for rising above hate. Negative behavior can feel isolating, but surrounding yourself with people who uplift, validate, and encourage you provides a shield against emotional harm. True allies offer perspective, reinforce your worth, and help you see when negativity is rooted in the other person's struggles rather than your actions. Supportive relationships also remind you that resentment from a few does not reflect universal judgment. It is limited, personal, and often transient. Self-awareness and resilience are equally important. Developing a strong sense of self allows you to interpret hostility without internalizing it. Resilience grows from understanding your values, strengths, and boundaries. Practices such as reflection, journaling, meditation, or affirmation help reinforce your sense of self-worth and reduce vulnerability to external negativity. Resilience also enables you to maintain calm and composure, even in the presence of subtle manipulation or open hostility, transforming potentially harmful interactions into opportunities for growth and self-mastery. A vital part of rising above hate is choosing your battles wisely. Not every act of resentment requires confrontation or explanation. Some conflicts are best left unresolved, allowing others' negativity to dissipate naturally while you preserve energy for things that truly matter. Strategic response involves analyzing the situation, assessing the motives behind the hostility, and determining whether engagement will serve a purpose. Often, silence, composure, or minimal response conveys strength far more effectively than defensive confrontation, letting you maintain control over your life and emotions. Mindful energy management is another powerful strategy. People who harbor hate can drain your emotional and mental resources if you allow them to. Limiting exposure to toxic interactions, disengaging from drama, and focusing on positive, productive activities protects your energy and reinforces your independence. By consciously choosing where to direct your attention, you ensure that your life remains guided by your goals, not the negativity of others. This deliberate approach creates a protective barrier that makes silent hostility less impactful and less distracting. Finally, adopting a long-term perspective can help neutralize the sting of sudden hatred. Recognize that most resentment is fleeting, rooted in temporary insecurity, envy, or fear. By viewing negative reactions as reflections of others' internal struggles, rather than threats to your identity, you cultivate patience, empathy, and clarity. Understanding the bigger picture allows you to respond with compassion without being manipulated, and to continue building your life with focus, purpose, and confidence. Your peace and growth become untouchable because they are grounded in self-awareness and resilience, not external validation. In conclusion, rising above the hate and sudden resentment requires a combination of emotional detachment, firm boundaries, personal growth, supportive relationships, self-awareness, resilience, strategic response, energy management, and long-term perspective. People who turn against you often do so because of their insecurities, jealousy, fear, or desire for control, not because of your flaws. By protecting your energy and focusing on your journey, you reclaim power, maintain peace, and continue thriving regardless of the silent wars around you. Hatred directed at you is not a reflection of your worth. It is simply a mirror of the struggles within others. Recognize this, rise above it, and let your life continue to flourish, untouched by the negativity of those who cannot see your value.